Palpatine ultimately took great pleasure in watching the Jedi Order crumble after thousands of years in power. It was incredibly vindicating for him. After all, the Jedi sat cozy in their fancy temple on Coruscant for generations upon generations, while the Sith toiled in the shadows, always one step from destruction. Palpatine achieved a great victory over the Jedi and humiliated them in the process, having hid in plain sight right in front of them for decades before swiftly destroying their order. But, inadvertently, Palpatine did the Jedi a massive favor that would ultimately save them from total destruction. In order to fully understand how Palpatine actually saved the Jedi, we need to examine the state of the Jedi just prior to Order 66. At their foundation, the Jedi were supposed to be vehicles who allowed the Force to work through them. They were meant to serve the Force and use their gifts and compassion to help others throughout the galaxy. Yet, the Jedi Order that we see in the prequels has quite obviously strayed from this original vision quite a bit. They now essentially serve the Republic. The Chancellor routinely orders Jedi here and there around the galaxy to do all sorts of tasks for the Republic. The Jedi are supposed to be a beacon of good, with allegiance to nothing but the will of the Force, yet here they are serving a corrupt government willfully, while slavery, for example, blatantly exists in the more remote parts of the galaxy. I can think of few things that the Jedi should have been more resolutely opposed to than slavery. Yet, they allowed it to exist because it existed outside Republic jurisdiction. But that's a terrible excuse. There is nothing in the Jedi Code that says the Jedi are limited to working within Republic territory. They imposed that limitation on themselves. They benefited from the status and influence given to them by the Republic, and over time, it eroded the integrity of the Jedi Order. Furthermore, the Jedi, as Palpatine tells Anakin, were much too dogmatic. They had their ways and were thoroughly set in them. They didn't change with the times, at least not in a positive way. This allowed their enemies, the Sith, to easily ensnare them in the trap that would be their downfall. Additionally, the Jedi Council was hyper-controlling over the Order. I talked about Jedi Wayseekers in a previous video, and how a Jedi was allowed to become a Wayseeker in order to serve outside the influence of the Jedi Council if they wished. However, by the time of the prequels, there don't seem to be Wayseekers anymore, likely because the Council abolished them. The Jedi Council clearly was uncomfortable with Jedi working beyond their beck and call. A Jedi with such liberation may begin to question the Order's ways, after all, which could lead to problems for the Jedi. At least that's the way the Council probably saw it. At the root of all of this, however, is one simple truth. The Jedi were massive hypocrites. Yes, they had their rules and their code that they strictly followed, but I mean, did they? Did they really? The Jedi constantly preach about how important it is to not have attachments of any kind. It's honestly one of the principles that they're most adamant about. Yet, the Jedi as an organization are very attached to the Republic. So much so that they'll dive headfirst into a war that on the surface was a political dispute between the Republic and the Separatists, and had really nothing to do with the Jedi other than the fact that the leader of the Separatists was a former Jedi. They sacrifice hundreds, if not thousands of Jedi throughout the Clone Wars in the name of the Republic. What is that if not attachment? The Jedi should, ideally, be a force of good in the galaxy completely untethered from any governmental body. But they're not. They are thoroughly tied to the Republic, and it's rather ironic that it is the Republic that ultimately destroys them. Lastly, the Jedi speak all the time of not allowing fear to dominate them, yet they essentially did just this. Whether they admit it or not, they feared the dark side. So much so that they avoided it like the plague and sought to eliminate it wherever they could. They didn't take the time to study it, for they feared that it would seduce those within the Order. Thus, it was incredibly easy for Palpatine to cloud their vision and judgment in the years leading up to and during the Clone Wars. And, wouldn't you know it, the Jedi were thoroughly unprepared, and this is what in part led to their downfall. So this brings me back to the original question. How exactly did Palpatine do the Jedi a favor? Well, had Palpatine not brought about the near destruction of the Jedi Order through his intricate machinations, the Order would have continued on. But don't get me wrong, it would have failed. Eventually. Maybe it would have lasted another few hundred years, maybe more, maybe less, but it would have slowly continued to decay until there was nothing left of the Jedi. By killing almost every single Jedi in the Order, Palpatine shocked the remaining Jedi with the realization of what they had become. This allowed them to learn just how the Jedi Order had failed and what needed to be done to ensure that the future Order would not make the same mistakes. Seriously? Again? Fuck. Well, I guess it's the thought that counts. Sorry, Palpatine, the Jedi screwed it up again. But who knows, maybe it'll be Rey who will be the one who finally learns from the Jedi Order's past mistakes. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Did Palpatine actually do the Jedi a favor, or am I just a nutjob? Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel for all things Star Wars. I'm Zach, and I'll see you in the future.